would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Real Estate Realities with the Rebel Broker. My name's Robert Whitelaw, and I am the Rebel Broker. Licensed real estate broker in the state of California, member of the National Association of Realtors. But please, don't hold that against me. Welcome back to it, folks. Another week in the can. I hope you have all managed to navigate your way through it successfully. As has sort of become the habit now, we're going to have an interview for today's show. Today, it's going to be with Marcus Boles. I think there's a lot to take away from what Marcus has to say. He happens to be another guy coming to us from Tennessee, so it's not like I'm going and looking for folks from Tennessee. They just keep showing up. But we'll get into that in just a couple of minutes. Before we do, let me remind everyone about how to reach out. The best way is to check out the website at therebelbroker.com. From there, you can check out the show notes for any of the shows that we've done. You can also go to the top of the page, click the big red button that says take the survey to support the show. And you're accomplishing two great tasks with that. One is you're putting your name in the drawing for a $50 Amazon gift card. Now, we've been doing this now for months. We've given away, over $500 so far. And congratulations to all those folks who've won the gift cards. But this is continuing on a month-to-month basis, so every month we do another drawing. Head on over to the website, therebelbroker.com, click the Take the Survey to Support the Show button, give the same email address both times you're asked, answer a handful of demographic-style questions, super easy. So not only are you getting yourself a chance to win that $50 Amazon gift card, but you're also supporting the show. You're helping me take the show to the level I really want it to be at, and I can't do this without you. It only happens because my audience supports the show. So thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day to do that. At the same time you're doing that, you can also join the Rebel Underground. This is going to be a subset of folks who really want to get a little bit more info, get access to some exclusive content. I am not a spammer. I don't sell your information to other folks. So you're really only going to get information when I think it's really valuable to give it to you. And if I could invite someone who's a member of the Rebel Underground to testify about the Rebel Underground, they'd tell you, Robert doesn't send us anything. Robert has sent us exclusive videos, but he's not hitting us with all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, the tempo of what you get from the Rebel Underground is going to increase as we move forward and as I expand the time I'm able to spend on the show. And that's really one reason why I want to grow the show and have you click that big red button, is because as I grow the show, I can spend more time on it and create more and more exclusive content just for you. So I appreciate you taking the time out to do that. And if you'd like to join the Rebel Underground, you can click the Join the Rebel Underground button at the show notes of any show. Just pick one and click the button. Or you can text the word Rebel Broker to the number 44222. That's text the word Rebel Broker to the number 44222 to join the Rebel Underground today. And without any further delays, let's go ahead and jump in with today's interview. All right, everyone, I would like to take a few minutes to get to know Marcus Boles, President and CEO of Customized Minds. He is taking some time out to chat with us today about what he does. He actually does quite a few different things, so it's going to be an interesting conversation. And of course, we'll give it that real estate focus that I think most of you are here for. But Marcus, thanks for consenting to come onto the show and for spending so much time with us today.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for everyone for listening, and hopefully I'm able to do my number one primary intent, which is to give information, take it and mold it into your own and apply it to your business, apply it to your life, and continue to grow, which is what life is about. So I'm excited for today, for the next few minutes that we have.
Great. Now, you want to give everyone sort of a 10,000 mile view of what Customized Minds does and what you do?
Yeah, so hopefully I don't lose you in it. And so really what Customized Minds is, the company, the brand, it's really a marketing holding firm, and we focus on joint ventures, business, and project management. And really what that means is that we oversee a portfolio of different businesses, and we'll probably touch on some of those, as you mentioned, throughout the show today. And so really it's just a holding firm holding all of the businesses that I've even started or invested in, real estate being one of those, and in a technology pieces and components of it well. So that's kind of high level, 10,000 feet, just holding everything that I've invested in and done over these years together is really what Customized Minds is all about.
Okay. And what part does real estate play in that equation for you?
So real estate came through our business development and management firm. So that's where we do either one or two things. We either help startups establish and grow their business by investing into them, so giving capital, getting a percentage of equity of the company or a product or something that they've started, or we consult of helping an established business grow and manage their current company as again, consultants. So coming through the pipeline of CM Investments, which is that company I'm talking about, there was a real estate company that was based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, had a very, very interesting component. It was really pretty much set up as how Customized Minds was. So it's a real estate brokerage based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, but they also have two other businesses and components that they focus on, which is insurance, which is very much important to real estate, as well as financial services, because of course you have to have your clients, your investors squared away to even purchase real estate or do business in the real estate business. And that is how I personally developed and grew the business of being in real estate. But prior to that, I did personal investing, so the fix and flips, buy and holds, wholesaling. And so that really set me up for that investment opportunity that I made in Avanti real estate company out in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay. And in terms of your experience with hands-on real estate investing, what would you say are some of the first things, or really what were some of the key things for your first success in real estate? And maybe tell us a little bit about that first investment, because so many investors, that first one is the hardest one, right?
Man, it really is. I'll take a stab at it, and I'll probably drop a couple names of companies and programs that people may be familiar with. And I'll be the first one to say, there's nothing wrong, with, the programs and some of the names that I'll drop, because I'm a big advocate of learning and studying before pulling a trigger. That's just, in my opinion, business 101.
Right.
So, I was always interested in real estate. I understood the understanding the process of a good asset versus a liability and, having a balance sheet. And real estate was always considered, quote unquote, a safe asset. So I was like, okay, so let's learn about the real estate industry. So, I did some internet research, hooked up with a couple online programs, Preston Ely, some of those guys, Cody Sperber. And then, went ahead and made the investment into the Fortune Builders program. And so I really took all of those and kind of molded and morphed and that was like my college degree far as real estate.
Right.
But we know, just like going to college, you can learn all the book stuff, but then it wasn't until you actually applied it, maybe get that first job or whatever, to get that practical experience. And so that was my approach to getting into the real estate. I went to the real estate school of education, got my degree, so to speak, and then, just hit the streets and started doing wholesale deals and learning along the way all about the mailers and all the technology, along the way. And it was kind of a blend of self-taught and then, I guess if you want to say, formal education from some of the experts.
Right. Now, I did see that you finished the Fortune Builders Mastery Program in January of 2015, right?
Yep.
And how soon after that were you into your first deal?
Well, it was crazy because the day that I signed up, I had my first deal underway, and
okay.
I was already had my wheels turning because I had already started studying things from the internet. I think prior to actually getting hooked up with Fortune Builders, I may have been wrapping up one of Cody Sperber's real estate programs online. So I was kind of, I guess, ahead of the game, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find that first deal?
Day. I think I found it through going to my local real estate network meeting, doing some networking, of course, getting some phone numbers and getting on people's email blasts and text message blasts, and seeing the deal, end up wholesaling it. And it was just through kind of some of those natural networking components as how the deal came in. Then, of course, I started to invest more into technology to automate things.
Sure.
But that first one was kind of the hands, nitty gritty, networking, right. and it just made sense.
So, okay, that's an interesting one, because this is a theme I hear a lot. And I'll be honest, I actually think, for me personally as an investor, one of my weakest things, despite the fact I do a show every Monday through Friday, going out and actually talking to people is one of my weak points. I'm far more of a gears guy. I like to engage the technology and do things that way. But I am so often from investors like yourself really hearing sort of this underlying common thread that network, that personal hands-on face-to-face or personal contact networking plays a huge part in your success. Would you say that's an accurate thing, or am I overstating it?
I would say it's accurate as well as overstated, and I always say this, depending on your strategy, and I'll kind of throw in a marketing, concept here. So at that point in my real estate investing career, just my business career personally, period, I was really more hands-on. I mean, I had thousands of business cards, and I still have them. I don't look at them. But at that point, my strategy, my philosophy as growing my business was networking, hands-on, getting my face out there, touching individuals and touching the real estate and touching the soil. But that was my strategy, and it worked. And that is a dominant strategy for a lot of real estate investors, regardless of whatever your title is.
Right.
But there is nothing wrong with your philosophy or similar philosophies being more tech-driven, gear-driven. I would say early in your career, it probably makes more sense to be more hands-on, feet on the soil, so you can get the real world experience of it, because it will set you up to probably understand how the technology and the automation will work for you as you kind of make that transition. Right. So that's why I say it's a blend of both, depending on what your strategy is for your business.
Yeah. And, it might even be one of those situations where the more personal putting yourself out there approach works well in terms of building momentum that then you can leverage off of with less face-to-face, using the gears and the other virtual methods to reach out to folks.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm just trying to come up with a strategy here as I hear more and more from folks like yourself. The opening thing that really sort of started that first success seems to trace back to being really out there in terms of having that personal connection. Now, right now, do you currently yourself hold investments, or are they really sort of more bundled into your business?
I bundled them into the business from I wouldn't say a liability perspective, but from how I've shifted more into that automation type mode. So where I can lean on the business strategies and processes and systems to, if I have crazy life things going on, like we were talking about prior to coming on the air today, the ball doesn't get dropped and the business takes over. But before, they were pretty much all personal. But again, depending on life and those strategies and your philosophies and basically your end game and your end goal, either strategy makes sense, just depending on which direction you're trying to go.
Right. Now, just for the folks who are listening, you're another person who happens to be in Tennessee, right?
Yep.
Yeah. See, and you're in Memphis. We've had an interview with someone who was in Knoxville. Now, what is Memphis just sort of where you landed, or were you drawn there sort of by the more robust market that seems to be happening in a lot of areas in Tennessee?
So, Memphis was where I landed. So prior to coming to Memphis, I was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri. Spent my entire 18 years of my life there. And it was really a college decision. Okay. Ironically, Memphis was the last place on my list. The only school I didn't receive scholarship from because I didn't think I was going. But by my second semester, I was pretty much on a full ride because of academics. Mm-hmm. But then fast forwarding, years ahead, when I became interested in real estate, I started to understand that Memphis was a really great market, and a lot of out-of-state investors and interstate investors were coming to Memphis looking for deals. And I'll kind of let the cat out of the bag. Memphis is a great, well, it is, depending on your strategy. I'm personally for Memphis. I love buy and hold because you can get buy and hold good rental properties and charge extreme, I won't say extreme premiums. You make really good margin, and the maintenance, if you select your properties correctly, is minimum. And so that's really why I personally love Memphis, but it's also a really good fix and flip market. I would say probably the strategy for Memphis is better buy and hold because you have a lot more people looking to buy and hold in this area, rentals. But it's definitely a good fix and flip market as well.
Now, have you been in the Memphis market for long? Were you involved in real estate investing during the downturn, or did you kind of come along after that?
No, I came along after that, and really, I guess that is why the buy and hold has been so attractive to me. And it really, again, a lot of when the downturn was in Memphis, a lot of the properties that were getting fixed and flipped are now turning into the buy and hold. So, one of the areas in Memphis back in that time, I'd probably say in 2008, the ratio to buy and hold versus, I would say rental to owners in those properties was probably 80-20. Okay. 80% being owners and 20% being renters. In that same area today, it's probably 70-30, roles flipped.
Okay.
I mean, these are, $115,000 properties that you're charging anywhere between $900 to $1,200 a month on rent.
Wow.
And your mortgage is around $500 to $600, depending on what type of deal you got with your lender.
Okay. Now, I want to get a little bit more into strategies and kind of pick your brain a little bit there. But before we do, I'm going to take a quick break. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Are you ready to jump in and start your search for your first investment property? Maybe you've decided that it's time to own your own home, or maybe you're ready to sell your home and move on to something new. No matter what your goal is, the Rebel Broker can help. That's right. Aside from hosting this show, I am also the owner broker of Whitelaw & Sons Real Estate Services right here in Silicon Valley. With over 25 years experience serving Silicon Valley, Morgan Hill, San Martin, and Gilroy, I or one of my great agents can help you achieve your goals in real estate. So if you're ready to look into taking that next step towards achieving your real estate goals, point your browser at www.soldbyrobert.com. That's www.soldbyrobert.com and get in touch. Let me show you how I will earn your business and your respect. Again, that's www.soldbyrobert.com, or you can call me at 408-852-0525. California Bureau of Real Estate ID 00984-909. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to continue our conversation with Marcus Boles, President and CEO of Customized Minds, who's spending some quality time with us. We're going to jump into a little bit more insight from him about what he thinks about markets. So, Marcus, you were just talking a little bit about sort of strategies, different things to do, whether it was buy and hold or flip, those types of things. Where do you see, it sounds like we already have an answer to this question, but I'd love to sort of see if you were willing to pull out your crystal ball a little bit. You were talking about a buy and hold strategy now, and I'm going to go ahead and just ask the question, is that the strategy that you think works best right now, given the market? And moving forward, do you have any thoughts on where you think the market's going? And if it is going somewhere different, what kind of strategies are you kind of bouncing around in your head?
And we're talking about for Memphis or just kind of overall real estate?
Let's do both.
Strategies.
I think that's great. Okay. Not everyone listening's from Memphis, so maybe we get your if you have some opinions on broader markets. I know you're experienced at least a little bit with the Las Vegas market, so I'd love to hear your insights on both sides.
Yeah. So for Memphis, and I'll give some of the strategies for Vegas as well, because it's a little bit different for Vegas, given all of the development that's happening in Vegas.
Yeah.
So in Memphis, I would personally say for a newer investor, and investor that may have some good funding, whether that be traditional funding backing or, a private investor, it's probably going to make more sense for you to get into the buy and hold because, again, for specific areas in Memphis, and I like the nicer properties. Now, of course, you can go to some of the more urban areas of Memphis and, get buy and hold as well. You're just going to, deal with different type of tenant, clientele, problems, profit, whatever. Me, I focus more on kind of the medium market. Memphis really doesn't have a really big luxury market or
before we move on to that. Before we move on to that, though, you just made a really interesting point. So when you do that filtering, and granted, you've got ground truth, right? You know Memphis, you live there. But let's say you're analyzing it from maybe a distance. And so what would be the top things? What would be things you would use to say, you know what, maybe I don't want to spend as much of my attention on this area? Would it be simply by looking at price variances across the area of the city? Would it be crime rates? Would it be commute times? What do you see as the big things that would be elements in an analysis you would do to decide where to go?
Man, I'm going to give 2 free sources, and it's just at that point common sense.
Okay.
So here it is. Zillow and Trillia. I think I said that one right. Did you say it? Trillia?
That's exactly right, and that is exactly the tool I use. Their map is awesome.
Oh, my goodness. The Trillia heat map is phenomenal. And, of course, some of the other components that they have on their free resource is great as well. Zillow will show you if you don't have MLS access, and I like even Zillow, even though I have MLS access, because again, it gives you a different view and you can look at how you want to move into a market based on different strategies. So those are the 2 primary free tools and resources. And I honestly still use those very much a lot in my business to figure out, okay, what makes sense given certain zip codes based on certain city data. And all the cities in a way are really the same. And you're going to have urban, medium, and luxury. The only variation is going to be per city is how that stretched across each of those 3 demographics. So you take California, you'll probably have a lot more higher luxury, probably just say, 40% luxury, maybe 30% median, and then the tail end will be urban. Versus Memphis, you'll probably have 10% luxury, maybe 60% median, and then the tail end be urban. And that's how I look at moving into any market, just say not even living there or not even knowing what the hell to do. It's just common sense at that point.
Now, you mentioned that you're shifting a little bit more into the higher end of the market. Are you going full on luxury, or sort of teasing the boundary there between mainstream and luxury?
I'm teasing the boundary we're teasing the boundary in Vegas.
Okay. Because
it's a great market to do it, given everything that's happened. So right now, if you don't follow sports, the Oakland Raiders in California, they have officially announced in development and construction is underway, they're moving to Las Vegas.
Right.
So everything in probably that 15 to 20 mile radius of where the arena is going to be or the stadium is going to be, real estate is going to skyrocket in prices over the next 3 to 5 years. And I'm talking condos, houses, townhomes, apartments, everything is going to skyrocket. And then, so therefore, that's going to bring in even more luxury buyers. And understanding luxury is a completely different concept. So definitely do your study and your research and understand how these buyers work versus your, mainstream. So that's where I'm going to get some opportunities, and we're going to take that strategy to California as well. But that's really where we're at with Vegas, and Memphis is mainstream. I'm really focused on buy and hold just because of the margins you make on rental, and these are really good, strong properties, and the demand is high for them.
Right. And so in your Vegas environment, are you thinking you're going to go ahead and acquire a property that's kind of up there at the luxury level, and you're going to offer that as sort of a short-term sports-related rental to folks who want to get in there for the game or whatever?
Exactly. So we had the ability, and this is why I was so blessed that I found my partner Donald Wong out in Las Vegas, is because he brings that financial investment philosophy to it. So, for instance, he wears the real estate broker hat, so he understands the traditional buyer, even if it's luxury.
Mm-hmm.
But we're able to come in and put a financial game plan together where, just say, for instance, our luxury client is primarily based in California.
Right.
But they want to travel to Vegas maybe in the summer for 3 months. Well, that'll be their primary residence for 3 months, but we'll set the deal up to when they acquire the real estate, they're able to put a 9-month strategy in place to where they're also gaining money on their asset, and we are able to broker the financial deal as well as the real estate deal. And so that's kind of our unique philosophy, because we hold all of those 3 licenses because of how that business is set up.
Right.
But it doesn't take rocket science for a regular real estate investor to do that themselves personally, or to do that for their clients, or to take a portfolio or presentation like that to their financial institution or their private lender and say, hey, this is what I want to do, and this is why it makes sense.
Right.
And a lot of people, close deals just like that when you make it make sense.
And what's great is an opportunity like what you're describing doesn't need to just live at the luxury level, right? In fact, by definition, the number of folks who are going to want to see a Raiders game isn't just the folks that are flying in from wherever, whether it's Moscow or Asia or Beverly Hills. It's also going to be the family that loves Raiders who live in a suburban neighborhood in San Jose, right? They're going to want to get out there too, and so they'll have something they want to rent at a different level. So you don't have to think, well, I can't really compete in a market like Marcus is talking about unless I've got big money to spend to acquire this luxury accommodation that I can then offer to people. I think it can be absolutely something that gives you success at different levels. Would you say that's accurate, or is that, am I underestimating the kind of customer that's going to want to come out there?
Absolutely. And Vegas is a very big condo market.
Yeah.
I learned that when, making the investment, is you could get a 560 square foot condo, get the note on it. And like you said, be able to rent it out, 2 to 3 times on the weekend. And sometimes throughout the week, you got people coming in for all types of conferences and just all types of stuff, there, especially this time, vacations, you name it. Something's always going on in that city. You could get a condo for $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. Good area, 560 square feet. And this is where we talk about, at that point, the marketing component comes into place where you're able to, make, 30, 40, 60% margins on that condo as long as you keep it rented out. And of course, that's another hold. So I agree. You don't have to have big money to play in markets like that. You just have to really, going back to getting into the real estate, you have to understand, do your research on the market, do your research on what the buyers are looking for,
right,
and pick your lane, learn that lane. And then when you want to, expand like what we're doing over into luxury, then expand over, just like any other business cycle in a way through acquisitions. They get their foundation right, and then they start to acquire or expand into newer industries. And that's how I built my business, and that's how I'll continue to build it, because that's how it's been done for the past 300 years.
Okay. All right. Now, one thing specific to Las Vegas, and this might be a little bit too nitty gritty for some listeners, but I know that for my rental in Hawaii, for instance, the big industry there is hotels, and that sounds very much like Las Vegas to me. So and Hawaii has ridiculously idiotic rules that are very much designed to squish the little guy who owns a property and is trying to rent it as a vacation rental or a short-term rental. Are you facing the same kind of challenges in the Las Vegas market? Because I got to imagine that the hotels have lots of power in Vegas.
Fortunately, we're not, because of, number one, the continuous expansion of Vegas.
Okay.
So a lot of businesses are moving to. So let me back up. Yes, primarily hospitality is the breadwinner for Vegas, but you're not seeing a lot more hotels going up. The hotel, as far as their span of control and their interest in the market, is pretty stable at this point. Where Vegas, you're seeing a lot of the expansion happening is into the suburbs. So a lot of new development is happening with homes. And then with the beauty of Vegas, and when we entered the market, condos had already kind of put the hospitality industry in check, so to speak. So that's where you're able to get all of those condos and get a buy and hold situation type like that. And then as you go out, now the Raiders are coming, so more new development is happening. It's honestly all working together because everyone can kind of stay in their lanes, and it's so much opportunity that everyone can eat.
Okay. All right. And, it's also an interesting trend because I was reading an article about a development in Beverly Hills last month, actually, that was originally being built as condos. And it's now not going to be that. It got bought by an investment firm that I think actually is owned by a guy in Vegas who is going to convert it into short-term luxury accommodations. So what's interesting is more and more of this stuff is popping up in different marketplaces. And you also mentioned California. Does your interest in California fall kind of into that category as well?
Absolutely. So we have quote unquote troops on the ground in California, relationships in California. But, our philosophy is, we're going to get our backyards dominating first, but we also have our eyes on the horizon. And we've done a couple deals in California virtually, from me. I'm in Memphis, almost 2,000 miles away. And then Vegas is about 300 miles away. And they've been great. And so we're learning that market. We're understanding the shifts, the changes that are happening. So we've primarily been focusing on the LA County area. So Anaheim, Santa Ana, Santa Monica, all of that, Beverly Hills. We're understanding those markets. But again, the dynamics, and you also have to take this into consideration. The buying power is changing. The buying power is changing. If you don't understand that from anything else that you take away from this podcast, understand the buying power is changing and the philosophies are changing because guess what? Millennials are getting ready and have almost taken over the buying power. So that is the buyer really that you want to try to understand the most now and prepare for in the future because it's going to be tech-driven, convenience. What can I do? And these buyers are savvy. I mean, we're talking about Zillow and Trillia, as investors. These buyers know that they grew up behind a computer. They know that stuff as well. So that is another tip that I'll give that you need to take away that, also understand, your buyers that you're working with now, but understand what's coming on the horizon because if you understand that, you will be able to get a good piece of the market share because there are some people that have the good piece of the market share right now that are, number one, blatantly ignoring what's the changes that are happening in the buying power, or number two, they're going to catch it too late. And we've seen that in 2008 with the actual industry, but it's going to be different when, your business model didn't morph and shift because the buyers have morphed and shifted and generations have changed.
Okay. That's interesting. Now, one thing I wanted to kind of throw out there for you is I noticed at your website for Customized Minds at marcusboles.com, you have an opportunity for folks to send you business proposals for investment. Do you want to let folks know what kind of proposals you're looking for? Are there things you're absolutely not interested in? What if someone has a great deal put together in their pocket and they want to reach out to you for that? What are your thoughts on folks who you're hoping will contact you for an investment opportunity?
Yeah, so we primarily use that one for, and we've seen a couple of things come through for real estate as well. We primarily use that one for our CM investment business. When I talk about, we do business management and project management. So, if you have a different business that is not, real estate related, and you're a startup with a product or a concept, or you're looking to grow, or, you're trying to do whatever.
I gotcha.
We see proposals and requests come through there all the time. But again, we do see real estate deals come through there. And if it's something that we're not interested in, we have investors and relationships on the back end, and we actually do our best to marry up or refer as much as possible. We're not, one of those ones that, we don't respond if it doesn't make sense or if it's not what we're interested in, because I've been in that situation, and, I do our best, and I pride ourselves that people are our number one core value. So if we can't do it ourselves, we're going to do our best to refer. You will get a response
I gotcha.
from us one way or the other.
So even if it doesn't fit what you're specifically looking for, you may be able to point that person in a direction that might let them move forward a little bit.
Absolutely. Or to a resource, or some type of application, or, something. It's going to at least get you to the next step. It's not going to be, oh, well, this is a dead end. No, we're going to give you something, because we see so much as far as our business models that we can at least point you to a website, an application, a person, a network, or something. We're going to help some kind of way.
Okay. All right. So one way I really like to sort of bring things to sort of a nice conclusion when we have chats like this is to find out from you where you think the market is going. Do you anticipate markets taking a little bit of a hit over the next year, 2 years, 3 years? What do you see as much as you can over the horizon, given some of the challenges we've seen in the economy recently?
So here's my approach on it, and you may have heard it before, and it cycles. So if you look at history, about every 15 to 20 years, the United States has some type of or form of a recession.
Mm-hmm.
Some recessions have been like, '08, where it's just, compared very close to the Great Depression, or you have some that are very, very light. Here's the key point in recessions and upmarket. When the market is down, people are hurting, people are scared, there's a recession, and it's really just your philosophy and your viewpoint. That's when you walk into Walmart and you get things on doorbuster sales like on Black Friday.
Right.
If you look at a recession like that, whether it be real estate, whether it be the car industry, whatever industry, when the recession is there, that is when you're going to get your best deal. That's when you get things on discount.
Okay.
When we're kind of in an upward market, so to speak, like how we are now, it's been trending up. Of course, we had some dips. But if you look at it, even just look at the gas prices, they're not like what we were experiencing, even 3 to 5 years ago, because that lets you know that the market is kind of going up. And so you'll have to look a little bit harder to get things on discounts. But if you got your things on sale prior to, your profit margins right now are killer, because it's a buying market. So short term, we'll probably continue to trend upward. We hit whatever that peak is, and then you'll start to see, a slower decline. I don't know if there's going to be a big major, recession to come,
mm-hmm.
but I guarantee you that 10, 15, 20 year, you will continue to see that peak and down, peak and trough, peak and trough, peak and trough. It's happened over the past 100 and 200 years. It's going to continue.
Right. And you'll just and so your idea is pretty much to stick with the strategy that works right now, and don't worry about changing it until you see something that requires you to change it. You're not really coming up with a strategy that's designed to be reactionary to something that's going to happen a year down the road. You're looking kind of more in the short term.
Yeah, I would say you have to blend the two. So you constantly want to be looking at the horizon, but I always tell people, use history as the biggest
mm-hmm.
lesson and wisdom that you can. It's not going to happen the exact same. Nothing ever happens the exact same.
Right.
But at least especially of 200 years of patterns, it's going to continue to happen. So use what works now. But again, like I was talking about the buyers, the generational, that stuff is happening and changing. So plan for it, learn it, put 5% of your time to understanding that. So as that change slowly starts to creep in and starts to happen, you're already prepared for it. Nothing ever really, happens. I say this in funny terms, hits you out of nowhere.
Right.
Most of the time in business and even real estate, it's slow, incremental things that change. But if you're not prepared for it, it will feel like it hits you out of nowhere. But there were clues, there were breadcrumbs that were leading you to this the whole time.
Right.
And, we've seen it in '08, just people decided to ignore it. But those that followed the breadcrumb trails, they were ready.
Yeah.
And it didn't faze them.
You got to be honest with yourself when you're seeing what's happening right before your eyes and not just assume everything's going to go wonderfully based on bad info. Well, that's awesome. So I really appreciate you spending so much time with us. If folks want to get in contact with you, where should they go? Where should they go to find Marcus Boles?
Yeah. So, if you want to get in contact with me, I know I talked a lot. Hopefully I gave, again, what I said I would do, which is at least one tip, one nugget, something that I say, that's my goal every day is, take it, apply it to your success. It's your own. Success is what you define it. But if you want to get in contact with me for whether it be Customized Minds or any of our other businesses, just simply go to marcusboles.com. As soon as you hit the landing page, the website, there's a big old contact button right there, and you'll be able to get directly in contact with me. I give a lot of free resources away, so on that same site, you will hit the subscribe button. We release about 1 to 2 videos a week of inspiration, empowerment. We talk about some real estate. We talk about business goals. So if you really just want to get a genuine person giving free stuff away, all this knowledge and wisdom and entrepreneurship, just simply go to marcusboles.com. Believe everyone that's listening is smart and savvy. You'll be able to find exactly what you're looking for. And I look forward to connecting with you, maybe speaking at your next organizational event, whatever. We'll make it happen because it's all about growth and all about inspiration and empowerment.
Right. Well, thanks, Marcus. I appreciate you being so generous with your time.
Hey, same here. I enjoyed it as well. And, man, keep up the good work. I know you had a lot of great information on the show, and it'll continue to grow and prosper.
Great. Thanks, Marcus.
All right.
Bye-bye.